inform you that right around the corner is the actual Open Meeting Act. So before we begin, though, I would like to give recognition to the many city staff folks that are here. They are part of our Citizen 101, learning about all the different things that happened within the community. So for those of you that are maybe watching on TV, please note some of the greatest city staff folk are sitting right here tonight with us. And again, from all of us as elected officials sitting up here, thank you for what it is that you do to make Norfolk the success that we are. So with that, can we ask that you all stand with us for just a moment of silence and as well the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll continue with roll call.
Granquist, Lange,
Here.
Merrill,
Here.
Clausen,
Here.
Murin,
Here.
Moaning,
Here.
Baus,
Here.
File.
Here.
All right, and under action, I'm looking for approval of the consent agenda as provided you.
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Motion with a second to
Your Honor, I will be abstaining from the voting on the consent agenda because of item number 25 with the Norfolk Softball Association agreement because I am on the board.
Fair enough. So with that, if everyone else, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative. Councilman Faust abstaining, motion carries.
All right, and next I'm looking for approval of the full agenda, again, as presented you.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion with a second to approve the full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
All right. First, under action items here, public hearing for the Board of Equalization to hear and to equalize special assessments for paving district number 505, the Fox Ridge Estates Edition Phase 4, paving district number 506, Berry Hill 16th Edition, and paving district number 507, Andrews Regency North, paving district 508, Walters East Knolls 11th Edition. What I need first would be a motion to adjourn as mayor and council and convene as the Board of Equalization.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion with a second. Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative.
All right. And it looks like Mark is before us.
Yes.
For discussion.
These four paving districts that we're talking about tonight, they're all in new developments that were completed within the last year. Just a little background historically on those new developments. When you have a paving district, the city will pay for the intersection costs, the center of a cul-de-sac, and oversized storm sewer pipes. So those are kind of the typical costs that the city has participated in those districts in the past. So with that, like I said, there's four developments there. The first one, we'll just go through these real quick, a summary, and then I can answer any questions. 505, which is the Fox Ridge development, which is North 34th Street, is the actual street. Total project cost there was $153,000, and I'll just do these in round numbers. $153,000 with the city funding $49,000, which leaves $104,000 of accessible costs back to the properties. Paving District 506, which is the Berry Hill edition, that is for Market Circle is the name of the street. Total project cost was $109,500 with the city funding about $21,600, leaving $87,000, almost $88,000 accessible back to the properties. Paving District 507, which is Andrews Regency subdivision. The street was Regency Circle North. The total cost of that project was $189,000 with the city funding $26,000 of it, leaving approximately $63,000 to be assessed back to the properties. Paving District 508, which is in the Walters East Knolls edition. That is for the paving of the extension of Westbrook and then also Abbey Road. That project cost is $184,000 with the city funding $13,700, leaving about $171,000 assessed back to the properties. With that, I'd answer any questions you may have on any one of those or in all of them in general.
Mark, it got brought up in a meeting earlier. These are all residential, are they not?
Yes, I believe three of the four are single-family, and then I believe the Regency Circle is platted as duplex lots.
Do you know off the top of your head, maybe you don't, how many living units that would be?
Yes, I figured that would be a question you might ask.
Well, that's a mark of a good engineer.
I think you asked that on a similar quote last time. Paving District 505, which is the Fox Ridge North and Fourth, I believe that provided 9 lots. Paving District 506, which is the Martinet Circle in Berry Hill, that provided 11 lots.
11?
11.
Okay.
Yes. Regency Circle, which is paving District 507, for Regency Circle North in the Andrews Regency Edition, that provided 5 duplexes, so 10 lots. So that'd be 10 dwelling units with over 5 duplexes, that is. And then paving District 508, which is Westbrook and Abbey Road in the Walters East Knolls Edition, that provided 10 lots.
A total of 40, that's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions at all for Mark while he's before us? Okay, thanks very much. As this is a public hearing, is there anyone else that wants to come forward and speak to this or may have question? Okay, hearing none, then I will close the public hearing and look for a motion to adjourn as the Board of, well, yeah, we're ready to do that? Okay, as the Board of Equalization, and then reconvene as mayor and council.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor. Second?
Okay, we have a motion with a second. I would ask that you vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative.
Okay, and now we will look for consideration of approval of ordinance number 5379, levying special assessment in paving district number 505, Fox Ridge Estates.
Your Honor, I would make the consideration of ordinance number 5379.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. If no further discussion, a short title, Beth?
An ordinance levying special assessments upon the lots, parts of lots, lands, and real estate abutting upon and adjacent to and specially benefited by the improvements in paving district number 505 of the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, to defray the cost of said improvements and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
With that, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative. Ordinance 5379 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I would move that we suspend the rules and pass this ordinance on second and third reading.
Second.
We have a motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5379 on second and third. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative. Ordinance 5379 carries on second and third readings.
Next would be consideration of approval of ordinance number 5380, levying special assessment in paving district 506, Berry Hill Edition.
Your Honor, I move consideration of ordinance number 5380.
Second?
A motion with a second. If no further discussion, again, Beth, short title. 5380.
An ordinance levying special assessments upon the lots, parts of lots, lands, and real estate abutting upon and adjacent to and specially benefited by the improvements in paving district number 506 of the city of Norfolk, Nebraska, to defray the cost of said improvements and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative. Ordinance 5380 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5380 on second and third.
All right, we have a motion with a second to suspend rules and pass ordinance number 5380 on second and third. Again, any discussion? Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5380 carries on second and third.
And we'll move on for consideration of approval of ordinance number 5381, levying special assessment in paving District 507, Andrews Regency North.
Your Honor, I'd move consideration of ordinance 5381 on first reading.
Second?
We have a motion with a second. No further discussion. Short title, Beth.
An ordinance levying special assessments upon the lots, parts of lots, lands, and real estate abutting upon and adjacent to, and specially benefited by the improvements in paving District Number 507 of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, to defray the cost of said improvements and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
And with that, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5381 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5381 on second and third.
Second.
Motion with a second to suspend rules and pass ordinance number 5382, is that where we're, 81, I'm sorry, 81, on second and third. Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5381 carries on second and third.
Next is consideration of approval of ordinance number 5382, levying special assessments in paving District number 508, East Knoll 11th edition.
Your Honor, I would offer for consideration ordinance number 5382. Second.
Motion with a second. Any further discussion? Short title, Beth.
An ordinance levying special assessments upon the lots, parts of lots, lands, and real estate abutting upon and adjacent to, and specially benefited by the improvements in paving District Number 508 of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, to defray the cost of said improvements and to provide for publication of the ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5382 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move that we suspend the rules and approve ordinance number 5382 on second and third.
Second?
A motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5382 on second and third. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5382 carries on second and third.
All right, under regular agenda, consideration of approval of addendum number 2 to amendment number 22 with Black & Veatch for engineering services for U.S. Highway 81 Sewer Service Extension Project, resulting in an additional $16,000.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion with a second. Discussion?
This is for additional engineering services for the Black & Veatch project to support some work directives that were issued on that project. There were 4 of them. One was related to removing a service line that we're going to bore under the highway and routing it from the north that was less expensive. One was changing the alignment north of Bonita to accommodate a property owner that wanted the line changed and headed east instead of heading on straight north. One was changing the material on Bonita Avenue from asphalt to concrete. And then there was one related to the alignment of the line on North Airport Road. This project was reviewed by a subcommittee who recommended approval. I'll answer any more detailed questions that you might have.
Dennis, was this the original price that they came up with for the addition?
The 16,000?
Yeah,
No, that's about half of what they requested.
so staff negotiated that down then.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good
Dennis, what
question.
was the total amount for this project? Where are we going to be at overall?
Let me get back to. Total engineering will be 320, 340, 360, 365.
That's Black and Beach payment. What's the?
That's,
Yeah, what was the total project
The
cost?
the construction will be 2.78 million plus Black and Beach, so just shy of 3 million.
Yeah.
Or just slightly over $3 million.
And then what was the savings that the re-engineering, the value engineering they did for us? They came back with so much savings on the project, just,
There was about $130,000 or $40,000 worth of savings on work directive number 1.
sure. I think what's important to answer with Thad's question about bringing them down is that 365 was roughly about 11% of the total project. Remember, we kind of talked about that a little bit. They saved around 100, they came back, value engineered for us, saved us around 130,000, and basically that 16,000 boils down to about that same contract cost from the original contract. So it kind of all falls in line, and I think that's why we felt comfortable at the 16,000, Thad, so.
great explanations. Anyone else that might have questions or concerns? If not, then council, I would ask that you vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
All right, and next we're looking at consideration of approval of a change order number 1 with Penro Construction for South Highway 81 sanitary sewer and lift station, resulting in a net increase of $69,771.40.
So move, Your Honor. Consideration.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Mark, we'll hear from you.
This may sound very familiar to what you heard, a lot of it, because we're talking about the same project here. This is the change order with the actual contractor, which is Penro Construction. The original contract price was $2.71 million in round numbers. This change order basically gets us up to date for work completed before the winter shutdown and all those additional items that, occurred last fall, including the summary of those work exchange directives that Dennis just touched on. As he said, work change directive 1 was some value engineering, which included eliminating boring under the highway to serve one of the properties, which will show back up in work change directive 4, but I'll get to that. Work change directive 2, which was at about $8,000 in round numbers, change that alignment by adding some pipe and working with one of the property owners down there. Work change directive 3, this one, you'll see that it's a $29,000 increase in the project. Instead of tearing up half of a bonita, which is an asphalt paved road, it was determined best to remove the road completely and put a new concrete street in. You think that would be more expensive, but realistically it costs about $30,000 more, and in the end you get a lot better product. The county in that agreed to take some of that right away because that was a private road beforehand, and in doing so they agreed to pay $30,000 towards that, so that's essentially was a net zero on that one, and it replaced the entire road for the same cost as what it was going to do just to replace half of it. So that was a very good benefit to the project and to the overall area. Work change directive 4 is where that, the bore that was eliminated in work change directive 1 shows back up in work change directive 4. So instead of boring under the highway, we're bringing the line from Bonita and trenching it in, going to the south. It'll still be a significant savings, but to serve all the properties in the district, that's something that's needed. And then the main thing to note is in the adjusted quantities is that you'll notice a change order, I think, is a $69,000 increase. In the adjusted quantities, the main thing to note is that we had $71,000 worth of dewatering that had to take place over and above the original bid. And that was basically because when the groundwater levels, when they were surveyed, were lower than what they were last year during construction because we had a wet year. So really that's the main reason why this change order has a net increase. And that's not even taking into account the $30,000 that the county's going to be kicking in as a project. So similarly, this was presented to the subcommittee who recommended approval, and I'd answer any questions you guys may have.
Okay. Any questions for Mark? Job well done, engineering. All right, any other questions, anything, anyone? If not, then I would ask you to vote on the change order before us.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
All right, and next is consideration of approval of ordinance number 5383, that's enacting section 14-232 of the official city code to prohibit the sale, the purchase, the possession, or the use of flying lantern-type devices.
Your Honor, I'd move consideration of ordinance 5383.
Second.
All right, we have a motion with a second. Scott, do you want to come forward and speak to this for us?
Yes, Your Honor. Mayor and council, as you may be aware, the legislature recently banned this particular flying device. LB 136 did that and included an emergency clause by the governor, so it has been signed and is in place. So these devices are already prohibited statewide. All this really does is allows, it mirrors that language and adopts it by local ordinance, so we have local control over that. Would use the city attorney as a prosecutor should there ever be an offense versus using the county attorney and citing state statute. So it's, in essence, it mirrors that language that's already bound in state law. And obviously this was born out of several examples presented to the legislature in the testimony regarding structures that burned to the ground as a result of these things landing on them. And so it's been a hot debate in the legislature for the last several years. What failed to occur in those early years was statistical data and specific examples to share with the legislature where these things have actually done what they were being accused of, and that evidence was overwhelming this time. They had those statistics, and I believe the vote was 44-0 to approve that. So I would say to the mayor and council, we're certainly sympathetic and empathetic to the ceremonial and emotional attachment to some of these devices are attached to some significant causes, with good people doing great things, very meaningful to them. And so we don't want to speak in regard to that or do anything to diminish that. But the legislature's spoken, and we have an obligation from a public safety standpoint to stay in line with that and hope that one person's event doesn't become a disaster for somebody else. And so in reality, we're just following suit. So
Scott, if I'm one of those that puts up that just 10 days prior to, I'm not going to have those available for sale then, am I?
they are not, and it's often confused. They really weren't classified as a firework anyway. They didn't meet that statutory definition of what was regulated by the state and the state fire marshal regarding fireworks. They were in an independent category of that, so they wouldn't have been, I think they're viewed as a novelty, so they wouldn't have been regulated during that 10-day window. They were a different animal, if you will. And so they've dealt with this specifically and solely for the purposes of dealing with the flying lantern. So it's independent of and distinctly unattached to the fireworks regulations in regard to that part.
I appreciate that because I made an assumption.
Yep.
I did. Okay, any questions for him at all? I understand it, certainly. So all that being said, appreciate you being here, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any other comments or concerns or discussion to be had? Okay. If not, then Beth, do we have a short title?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to enact Section 14-232 of the official city code to prohibit the sale, purchase, possession, or use of flying lantern-type devices, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
And with that, please vote.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5383 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, as this has already been enacted by the state under emergency clause, I would thus move that we suspend the rules and pass this under second and third reading.
Second.
All right, we have a motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5383 on second and third. If no further discussion, please vote. Thank you.
All council members present voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5383 carries on second and third.
Okay, and looks like Sheila's going to come forward for us and give us the February sales tax report. And I want you to know today, folks, I was with a group of young people that the question came up from, I think he was a 4th or 5th grader, wanted to know what kind of tax dollars we actually get here. And I told him he needed to watch TV tonight because you were going to tell us what the last month was. So
Yes, that's great.
I couldn't answer it.
So in your agenda packets is the sales tax report for February, which is the December sales. And the sales tax receipts for February are $1,067,499. Similar to the past few months, the city's 1.5 sales tax is down from the same month in the prior year. The hailstorm in June 2014 caused a bump in sales tax last year, and now we're seeing a decrease. We budgeted for this when we did the current year budget. Actual receipts for the 1.5 cent sales tax came in $19,000 more than budgeted. For the fiscal year to date, we have received $20,622 more than budgeted. We'll probably see another month or two of decreased sales tax before we start to see things level off. I'd be happy to answer.
That's your projection.
That is our projection.
Okay. Well, you've been taught by the finest, certainly, with Mr. Gates. I'm not sure where he is tonight, but it's great that you're right here with us. I like your precise numbers, not rounding off, So like I say, you've been taught by the best.
That's right.
Any questions for Sheila?
Did you take note of that for the young man that asked you the question?
I did. I don't think anyone has anything further that they ask of you, Sheila, so thanks for being here for us. I see nothing else on the agenda. With that, we are adjourned.